So what is basically the hazard of electronic waste? Why is it so important to manage electronic waste? If they are there in the atmosphere, how polluting will they be? Let us understand it thoroughly. So when we talk about the e-waste, the major component that is polluting, that is the plastic waste. And when we talk about plastic waste, we know a lot of plastic get released into the oceans in the form of the microplastics. And microplastics that are something which have a radius less than 5 millimeter, okay, which have a dimension less than 5 millimeter, then they are called as microplastics. Now microplastics cannot be removed as such, okay. Microplastics cannot be removed like the big plastic can be removed, okay. So they cause a lot of pollution. They get into the biodiversity, they get into the bodies of biodiversity. Sometimes they die of choking, sometimes they die of other biohazards, okay. The second major concern of e-waste is the lead pollution. Okay, lead pollution. As you know, lead is a heavy metal. Similarly, beryllium, cadmium, all these are some poisoning agents which get into the body of human being through the e-waste. But majorly if we talk, the one who is taking all the blame currently because of the current hazard, that is lead pollution. So lead is most harmful element of all the electronic equipments. It affects children more than the adult. For example, suppose you have a in your home you decide to paint. The paints that you use, that contains the lead. The lipstick that you use, that contains lead. The toys that you purchase for your children, that contains lead. Okay, so because of a lot of factors, the lead gets accumulated in the children's body and they affect them more rather than the adults, right? The electronic equipment, it contains various hazardous metallic contaminants like cadmium, lead, beryllium, and plastics alone account for 30% of the e-waste. Now here you can see all the countries that participate in the WEEF forum, okay, and it was started by the European Union. So it is a regional organization started by the European Union. And when we talk about the BRICS, if we talk about the BRICS organization, then these are all the countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Out of all these countries, China is the largest emitter or is the largest generator of e-waste thanks to their large population, and India is no less. Okay, we import a lot of electronic equipment from China and we also generate a lot of e-waste, and that has been increasing by 43% in the last few years. Okay, so second to China is India, then Russia, then Brazil, and then South Africa. Now, what all things contain lead? So basically lead is found in paint, lead is found in the household dust. For example, after the paint, some dust are there in your house, right or not? For example, doorknobs, if you purchase the doorknobs and various other equipments for house building, many of those things contain lead. Now the dust is simply there in the floor for the children to get in touch with it, and that may get into their body. Okay, then imported canned food, whatever canned food we use, that contains lead. Imported hard candies, toys, traditional remedies, soil. How come soil? Now for example, these canned foods are used, okay, so these cans are not disposed properly, they are directly thrown into the soil. Now what will happen? They will contaminate the soil also. Okay, so the children playing around, they can grab up some kind of dust from the soil, they can grab up some of the garbage from the soil, okay, and they can also like be playing with it, and in that way also that can get into the children's body. Pottery, ceramics, china, crystal. For example, we always are a fan of the terracotta, right? We use a lot of terracotta pictures in our home, or terracotta monuments in our home, that is clay things. Even that contains lead. Normal eyeliner and lipstick used by the female, that contains lead. Then vention, other wild games, vehicle batteries, and industrial uses as such, they have a lot of lead containing in them. Now what is lead poisoning called as? Lead poisoning has another name also, which is called as the plumbism. This is how the lead poisoning affects the children's brain. So the brain, the IQ, the hearing loss, learning disabilities can be seen with children that are poisoned by lead. In the body, it can cause decreased bone and muscle growth. The nervous system may be damaged, the kidney damage may be there, then blood damage may be there, anemia may be there in the children's body.